Some of you may know that Bridge's administrative offices are right down the road in Lee, across from Town Hall, and we also have our program offices in Great Barrington. I'm going to keep all my remarks brief as your MC for today, but I want you to know that Bridge is a nonprofit that's 17 years old. We're a culturally specific public health organization. That means that we do everything around having a healthy community in Berkshire County. So we do that through organizing, through education, and through gatherings like these. Bridge, in particular, uses the arts as a vehicle for community work, for connection, for education. And so we were very excited to get this call from Lee to partner with the Smithsonian exhibit. It fits in with work that's supported in our organization by the Barr Foundation. We're part of the Creative Vitality cohort, where Bridge brings community members together with the arts institutions to have dialogue and to help bolster our community and our community health. So that's a little bit about why we're here. Today we have a lot of esteemed guests, and we're all friends. This is a bit of an intimate group of people that are all involved in DuBois work or in with Bridge, and hopefully we get some passersby that are shopping. But what's most important at Bridge is that we're creating spaces of belonging, right, and placemaking. And we're relating this particular event to Dr. DuBois because of the unveiling of the statue. You'll hear about that throughout the afternoon. And the work, Bridge has been involved in that work to bring community members in, to bring our next generation in, who are all in the back. I want to give them a round of applause for all the support they do at Bridge. But also that community members that have grown up in our county and never have had access to DuBois work. It's been work that's been stewarded and guided by scholars in our community, but children have gone off to college and learned about DuBois for the first time. Children have grown up here, worked in our community, and learned about DuBois, in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. But we have been, as a community, dedicated to shifting that. So I'm really excited for Lee to join in that conversation. And with that, I want to invite the Town of Lee Select Board Chair up to speak to us for a moment.
Thank you. Thanks, Gwendolyn. My name is Sean Renier. I'm the current chair of the Lee Select Board, and I really just wanted to thank everybody for coming up here and welcome you all. It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this and to work with Bridge and in the setting of this Smithsonian exhibit that we've been luckily enough to host. And thanks again to Sabrina for her efforts on this. And I'd really just want to say, on behalf of Lee and the Select Board, we've always strived to be a very inclusive community, and we'd just like to continue that journey. And that's what I see my role as the chair and on the Select Board, and looking forward to learning and working with you all moving forward. So thanks, Gwendolyn, and thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to invite a friend, Chris, who's representing the Congressman's office, for a few words from their office.
Hello, everyone. I'm from Lee, so this is super exciting to see 31 years later. Oh my goodness. But now from the Congressman, you don't care about me. So, good afternoon. My name is Chris Casalio, and I'm here on behalf of Congressman Richard Neal, who is currently in Washington for votes and regrets that he couldn't be with you today. Thank you for welcoming me to this special community gathering as we preview the new sculpture honoring W.E.B. DuBois. DuBois's legacy is both deeply local and profoundly global. Born here in Great Barrington, his ideas transcended borders, challenging minds, inspiring movements, and calling on all of us to pursue justice with courage and clarity. Today, his impact is also recognized on a national scale, perhaps most notably by the Smithsonian Institute, which has honored DuBois as one of the most consequential figures in American history. With the support of federal funding, the Smithsonian plays a vital role in preserving and amplifying stories like his, stories that have too often been marginalized or overlooked. That federal commitment sends a powerful message. that the life and work of W.E.B. DuBois are not only foundational to African American history, but essential to the American story as a whole. The sculpture we unveiled today is a local tribute, but it is part of a broader national effort to honor the truth tellers and trailblazers who shaped our democracy. Thank you for being here, to remember, to reflect, and to recommit to the unfinished work that W.E.B. DuBois so boldly began. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I want to reiterate what Sabrina shared, that the exhibit was coming on these dates, and I got really excited about the dates because it was really close to Juneteenth and really close. It closes the day before the unveiling, which is on Saturday. So it was really nice to have the congressman congratulate us, and you're going to hear from the committee members that have been working and stewarding that project in a little bit. What did I want to say? So with that, the next person that I wanted to come speak, I'm following my own notes here, is DuBois Thomas. Where are you? There you are. So that was a good segue from Chris to hearing about the sculpture committee and its process. So here you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is DuBois Thomas. I serve on the W.E.B. DuBois Sculpture Committee for the last 3 years, so you can imagine the confusion that we've had. Since Ari and Randy and almost Sarah and almost a dozen other folks on the committee to bring this sculpture to fruition. There are literally pages of donors and supporters and organizations and partners to mention. So I will not do that now. You will see the program when you come on Saturday to see the myriad of folks that have kind of come out to support this project. And I am very proud to be a small part of making that happen. Saturday, July 19th at 2 p.m., we will be unveiling the bronze sculpture that was crafted by Richard Blake, an award-winning sculptor. It is seated on a bench in front of the library, so once unveiled, we invite everyone to join Dr. DuBois, seated at the bench if you want to just spend a moment in reflection or inspiration. In front of the library, and we hope to kind of grow the library's collection so that we understand, as Gwen and others have mentioned, to kind of correct the wrongs that we have of previous generations of not educating them about this great man that came from and was proud to be from Great Barrington in Massachusetts. So with that being said, just want to reiterate, 2 p.m. on Saturday, there are multiple speakers, bands, music. It will be a good time. SoCo Creamery is debuting their new flavor, DuBoisenberry. So come give it a try. It should be a really fun-filled, exciting event, but also seriously imbued with emotion. And so I put everybody on notice that I know I will be in tears, but I think many others will be as well. And also that we will have, and we're honored to have Jeff Peck join us for that event, who will actually be the one unveiling the sculpture for us. The veil itself was crafted with some youth involvement from Multicultural Bridge and other community members who took part in a, let's call it a multimedia production of a veil that once we're done with it for the event, will be in display somewhere in town. Yet to be determined. Similar to maybe it'll be a traveling display. But yeah, 2 p.m. on Saturday. Hope to see you all there. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, DuBois. So many of you know I wear many hats. I said my primary role right now is the CEO and founding director of Bridge. In partnership with this exhibit, I also serve on the DuBois Sculpture Committee. I don't know what my title is, a generalist in that regard. And then I also serve as the vice chair on the W.E.B. DuBois Legacy Committee. And some of you have heard me tell this story before, but I've been in the Berkshires for a few decades. And when I was in my teens, I interned with Randy Weinstein, who's here. And he never let go of me, basically, because I'm in my 50s now. When the town of Great Barrington sort of decided that they wanted to right some of the immediate wrongs, right? I got that right. They called Randy, and Randy called me, and it was in honor of the 150th birthday that we gathered community and we set our sights on some goals. And so I won't steal Randy's thunder. I'll let him tell a bit of the history. But I just wanted you to know that this has been, as DuBois said, community effort for a long time. It's been a sustained 8 years. So when we get to Saturday, I will be crying and doing a dance as well. But also, there have been decades of scholars before us and decades of activists. And Randy's been around a little longer than me. So he's been through a few of the waves. And so I'll just have Randy come up and talk to you for a minute. Thanks.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That's okay. Gwendolyn asked me to give you a brief history of our committee and its evolution. And I had written something a while ago, and I read it again. It's pretty good. It's pretty accurate, I should say. So I'd like to just read that to you, if you don't mind. The Great Barrington DuBois Legacy Committee was born on September 3rd, 2018 at 7:14 p.m. It was a joyous occasion, with the town select board voting the Legacy Committee into existence unanimously, with a packed room witnessing history being made. The DuBois Legacy Committee had been conceived in January of 2017, albeit unwittingly, when the director of the DuBois Center and a couple of select board members met over coffee. Their agenda was arrow straight. W.E.B. DuBois and the town ought to commemorate DuBois's 150th anniversary. The select board agreed that the anniversary celebration would embrace the whole DuBois without editing out uncomfortable truths, without apology, and afterward honor his post-150th legacy. The following month, the full select board gave the green light and things moved rapidly. I contacted Gwen, my dear friend forever, the co-chairs. As co-chairs, we established a town-supported legacy committee, the genesis of the current town-appointed committee. The committee stood squarely behind the town. The aim of the committee was visible to everyone, with banners up and down Main Street setting the tone for the year ahead, fluttering core DuBoisian values, civil rights, progressive education, economic justice, and racial equality. It was a one-for-all, all-for-one endeavor. Businesses and organizations signed on enthusiastically, some providing venues and funds. Volunteers became an orchestra, together planning and running programs intended to teach, entertain, and uplift. Whether discussing German influences in souls of black folk and the roots of the civil rights movement, or viewing a stunning mural made by students, rare artifacts, and an on-stage tour performance. Long story, can't explain. The community is indebted to the pioneering work of DuBoisians, scholars and activists, past and present. Their struggles on behalf of DuBois live in the town's rich history and make us even stronger with resolve. Their dream became reality in September 2018 when the Select Board avowed, and I quote, to preserve and promote Great Barrington native W.E.B. DuBois's legacy as a scholar and activist for freedom, civil rights, progressive education, economic history, justice, and racial equality. An official guardian of the DuBois flame, Great Barrington may well be the first municipality in the country to so honor DuBois as a civil rights icon. Rarely in history is history created before your very eyes, revealing the community's best angels. And that much I think we've done. Thank you. And thank you, Russell, for being an angel.
Thank you. Thank you, Randy.
You're welcome.
A couple things. On your seat, you will see this green card, and I just want you all to take it with you. We've mentioned our Bridge Youth Corps a few times, some of them in the back. This card was made as one of our youth projects a couple of Youth Corps generations ago. So on here, it talks about Du Bois, in his relationship to Great Barrington. There's some spots that you can visit, but it also is it goes as far as UMass Amherst, where the W.E.B. Du Bois Center is. And then we need a landmark in Lee as well, because Du Bois is a native son not only of Great Barrington, but of the Berkshires, right? So it's really important that we spread the celebration, I think, after this statue is installed. So take this with you, take your family. We've had colleges take this little guide and go around in classrooms and find Du Bois' spots. We'll also have some youth leaders, I think, on Saturday, greeting you all at some of these sites around the sculpture unveiling. So just take this with you. And then I want to introduce, I just described a couple minutes ago as like my other brother. I have one by my mom, but then I have this one over here, Jeff Peck. We talk about everything, all things Du Bois. I've had the honor of really being integrated into family and friends, and I'm so honored for that. I love our calls and our exchanges and the family and friend moments that we've had all over the county, actually. We toured up Lenox one year and everything else. So I want to welcome a great-grandson of Dr. W. Du Bois, Jeffrey Allen Peck.
Thank you very much. First, with all those that have something to do with the sculpture that's going to be unveiled Saturday, would you please stand, everyone that's part of this movement? Would y'all give them a hand, please? For a good while, I've been coming here. I think since 2014, my brother drugged me here, and I was kind of his sidekick. And then he decided he'd take a new job, and I became the person that would represent the family, which I didn't see myself doing that. I think between my mom and my brother, they were doing a great job, and I was good at just clapping for them and sitting in the audience. And so now, almost 10 years later, I've picked up the mantle, and I've not tried to be like them, but I just tried to add my own curve to how I wanted to see the legacy of my great-grandfather carried. And so many have asked, what do you think Dr. Du Bois would say if he was here today, and what would he ask of you? And I'm still scratching my head about that question. I wake up thinking about it all the time. But I think as a group, collectively, so many people across the world, believe it or not, are doing things in his memory. And I'm just overwhelmed with what I've seen, especially in the climate that we have in the United States right now, and with all the things that are going on. I have seen so many people show respect and love for my great-grandfather. And I think y'all are talking about crying Saturday. I've never been big into crying, so I might duck around a corner if you see me duck around. But at the end of the day, it is moving. But one thing I must say, I'm just one person, but all these great individuals that have made Du Bois's name a household name and that have worked to somewhat honor his legacy and carry it on, I don't have words for how happy I am to see the movement. When I go to Ghana, and by the way, I used to come here for his birthday every year for a good while, and then Japhet hijacked me, and I've been in Ghana for the last 4 years for his birthday, and now his passing day, which is pretty normal. When I go there, I talk a lot about Great Barrington and how kind everyone's been. I look at Karen when I think of that, because Karen didn't know me from a can of paint, and she opened her doors to me, and she and her husband have treated me like family. And so Great Barrington is just a big happy family for me when I come here. So I claim you all as home, and I hope y'all claim me as being family as well. The people in Ghana have worked very hard to treat me a certain way, hoping that I would call Ghana my new home. But it's going to be hard to push you all out of the way and make them number one, because like I said, every time I come here, I feel like I'm at home. All the things that I see and the fact that DuBois was born here and what this place meant to him, and the fact that they poured into him and helped him with his education to get started means so much to me. I think I was talking about what would he ask of me. I think one of the things that is important to him is our history. Like, people are going out of their way to hide our history from us. And so one of the things that I've tried to do is learn the history first. I've been traveling all over the country. I've been in these plays called Justice on Trial, where I play Dr. DuBois, and I talk about his experiences, and I teach people a lot about him, and I talk about Great Barrington. As of late, I've been to Niagara Falls, and I've seen a Harriet Tubman statue that's there that most people probably haven't had the opportunity to see, but it's amazing. There is a museum there. They talk a lot about slaves crossing over into Canada to be free. And one of the gentlemen that gave me the tour said that people come there looking for a train in an underground cave. That's how bad it is when it comes to our history. People really don't know it. So the first thing that I wanted to set out to do for myself is to learn more about our own history. I was just talking about the first black church in America. I was in Savannah, Georgia, and I had a chance to speak at this church. It's called the First African Baptist Church, and it was the very first black church in the United States. And I was just there probably about a month and a half ago. But I pinch myself as I go across the country and I get a chance to see our history that some I wasn't aware of and most people have no clue of. And my mother would instill one thing into me during our conversations, is don't let where you're from be the only thing you know. Get out and travel. And not just the United States, but travel the world, because there's so much out there. And there's so much that we don't know, that when we find out how things are in other places, it sheds light on other people's outlook of their history. And everybody's history is important. It just seems like black history has taken a back seat to everyone else's history. And so I know they teach us a little bit. I grew up in Texas, so I learned a little bit about Texas history, Mexican history, U.S. history, but there was really nothing about African American history or even Africa itself. And so I am so privileged to be able to go into all these different spaces and learn and see. I'm walking in DuBois's footsteps per se, and I get goosebumps all the time. And it's just, words don't describe what it feels like to be part of this family. But I carry you all with me as I make this journey, and I go places and I talk highly of this town and how much the town means to our family. So on behalf of myself and Arthur and the DuBois family, thank you for showing up today, and thank you for all the work that you've put into my great-grandfather's legacy. And I can't say how happy I am to be here. And I'm sorry I hadn't been here in February like I had been, but Japheth's made it pretty hard for me not to get out of the trips to Ghana. And where his final resting place is an important place as well to the family. So I'm just trying to split myself in half and be everywhere I can be. And it's just an honor to be here for this weekend. So again, thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you. We have some fresh new T-shirts right here. If you'd like to get one of those later on, let us know. Yep. So we're moving on to this exhibit here, and I talked about it at the Juneteenth event, but it's really remarkable to have a Smithsonian exhibit here that's so comprehensive, that is inclusive. It tells an inclusive history. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, it's leaving tomorrow, the 18th. Friday. So please make your way through, because it's a powerful exhibit, and the Smithsonian needs our support. Lifting up African American history and all these other histories of protest are really, really important. So we're going to take a short exhibit walk together, but I'm just going to encourage you to spend some time with this before it goes if you haven't already. Dr. DuBois, we keep alluding to it. We're not going to take a deep dive into it now. There's lots of history, but he hasn't always been accepted and loved. And so I think this losing you to Ghana, that's a repeat of history a little bit. Because you're there now because that's where he chose to spend the rest of his life. And what I wanted us to focus on today, since this is Voices and Votes, is about our democracy and its state of affairs at the moment. And also that there was a time in Du Bois's life where he protested by not voting, right? So there's a piece that he wrote in February of 1956, Why I Am Not Voting, and I won't read it all to you now. But I'm just going to read this excerpt, and this is really reminiscent of my MLK conversation. So there are these cycles of history where these things have happened. So in that, there's despair, but in that, there's also hope, right? Because we have progressed as a people and as a civilization, and we've gone through really hard things. And we're going through a really hard era right now, but protest is necessary. So it was interesting for me to learn, or relearn, I guess. I'm getting old and forgetting things, but I feel like I just learned this week about Dr. Du Bois using his vote as the protest. So in 1956, this is just one paragraph he wrote that seems like it could have written yesterday. The present administration is carrying on the greatest preparation for war in the history of mankind. Stevenson promises to maintain or increase this effort. The weight of our taxation is unbearable and rests mainly and deliberately on the poor. This administration is dominated and directed by wealth and for the accumulation of wealth. It runs smoothly like a well-organized industry and should do so because industry runs it for the benefit of industry. It runs it for itself. Corporate wealth profits as never before in history. We turn over the national resources to private profit and have few funds left for education, health, or housing. It was 1956. And that was in his, again, like I said, the article titled, Why I Am Not Voting. So I'm going to direct you to the protest side of this, and I'm going to invite you to walk around, talk to your people around you for just about 10 minutes. And you can think about that quote, or you can think about sort of where Jeff took us. What does it mean to carry forward Du Bois's radical care for Black people? What does democracy look like when we center Du Bois's vision? What does it demand of us right now in this place and in this time? So we'll ding the bell, have a cup of lemonade, but go towards the protest side and check it out. And we'll have a community conversation together before we invite our panelists up. All right? All right. Okay. 10 minutes.
So he canceled the coach, and I was like, but I'm so honored to be here. It's amazing. In their home, and that's where you know. I actually first came to the Berkshires in Great Barrington as a fellow at UMass Amherst, as a Du Bois fellow. And I couldn't have imagined coming back in a different capacity. I worked at Tanglewood with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, which is how I met Gwendolyn and Multicultural Bridge and really got to connect with the community. And now in my current role with the Boston Women's Heritage Trail, I am blessed to still really be a part of this community, and I totally understand what you mean about it being very loving and welcoming in terms of my interactions, certainly with Multicultural Bridge and people like yourselves who would come to programs like this. So I'm really joyful despite the somber and the serious nature of the challenges that we are facing, that we can come together as a community for conversations like this. So thank you for having me. I want to talk a little bit about Du Bois as a memorializer. I know we're talking about memorializing his legacy. We're unveiling a statue to him. We are reading his words. But he was an avid memorializer during his time. And so I just want to kind of flip things on its head and talk about what does it mean to memorialize a memorializer. So during the time period that Du Bois was born or lived, it was the late 1800s, early 1900s. Most of that was the Jim Crow era. And when we think about that, we often think about what one historian has called the nadir of the Black community. But it was also a time for upbuilding lots of institutions, which Du Bois was central in doing, from organizations to movements to political coalitions. And part of that was the National Association of Colored Women. And they were the largest African American organization of that era. And what they did was they built a national infrastructure of name memorials. These were memorials, something named for somebody. Oftentimes when we learn about Du Bois' history, it's in conversation, I'll use that word loosely, with Booker T. Washington. And how many of you have ever heard of a Booker T. Washington High School? I mean, I've got family from South Carolina here, so, definitely a lot of Booker T. Washingtons throughout South Carolina and throughout the country. But W.E.B. Du Bois high schools were not something that were really common. However, there was a Du Bois Circle, and it was an African American women's club in Baltimore, Maryland. And there was a group of Black women who came together really to honor Du Bois's living legacy through his writings. And so he actually corresponded with them. That was some of the things that I found as a fellow. But amongst all of these name memorials, Phyllis Wheatley was the most prominent. She was the most memorialized Black woman of that era. And Du Bois was chief among the people that memorialized her. He was a part of the Phyllis Wheatley Publishing Company in New York, as one of its on the board of editors. He has a membership card for the Phyllis Wheatley Association out of Cleveland, Ohio, with Jane Edna Hunter. And he used The Crisis, the magazine that he founded and edited through the NAACP, to champion Phyllis Wheatley name memorials. And so you can't really pick up an issue of The Crisis without seeing something about Phyllis Wheatley or other Black women. And I'm going to use Gwendolyn's copy of my book, which I haven't gifted to her yet, to read a quote. It's probably, I'm going to echo you in reading his own words, but this is something that he wrote to the women of the Phyllis Wheatley Club in Charleston. They wanted him to come speak for their anniversary. He wasn't able to, and so he wrote this to them. I am sure that if Phyllis herself could look upon and on you today, she would be uplifted beyond her wildest dreams, for she must have been a very lonely little girl there in Boston, with scarce a soul of her own race and blood to speak to, while if she lived today, she would have all that you have, and that, despite everything, is a great deal. And so really celebrating what I call the culture of recognition, celebrating a namesake while also celebrating yourself. And he really did that in a lot of wonderful ways. And, I wanted to bring that up to create kind of a context of what we're all doing today. So he was a memorializer, and the landscape of African American public history is very different now. I mean, we have a Smithsonian dedicated to African American history and culture. In addition to that, we have statues and memorials all over the country, streets named for him, things over in Ghana. And so it's a very different landscape. And that was kind of predicated by the work of memorializers during his lifetime. And so when I did a program with Bridge about Elizabeth Freeman Way, I asked the question, what does it mean that we as a community are doing this or celebrating her legacy in this way? And so I want to end by posing that question to you. What does it say about us here in the Berkshires and Great Barrington that we are willing to support the memorialization of Du Bois in this way, in such a communal way where you can kind of sit with him and his legacy? What does that say about who we are as a community and a people? To me, when I think of the answer to that, it gives me great joy. So I'm really excited, despite the challenges that we face, that we're here together and that Du Bois is still teaching us through his actions and his words. Thank you.
And we're going to switch gears again, kind of like on this journey together this afternoon. This is the last part of the programming, so this part would be great. As Katoria just said, we've been talking more in the last few months, I guess. And I'm learning the vision and the gifts that her family is bringing to the Berkshires. And also, just the possibilities of what kind of structures and what kinds of relationships can be built next. In that, one of them is working in the Housatonic post office, and this is a beautiful offering that you've offered to us as community. So I don't know if you want to come up and how you. Yeah, this is Katoria Jenkins.
Good afternoon, everybody. As she said, I'm her South Carolina sister. So down south we say hey y'all. So let me get a hey y'all. Hey y'all. All right. Like Gwendolyn said, I've been postmaster in Housatonic since 2018. I think that's the heart of the Berkshires. I'm a little biased with my opinion. We have a special community, right? But when I reached out to Gwendolyn, when I found out about the statue and the unveiling, I kind of wanted to do something to just add a small token of appreciation from the Postal Service and show our support for what you guys were doing. I feel like it's very important to highlight the work of Dr. Du Bois and also pay homage to the committee. And when I reached out to you about it, I was met with nothing but solidarity. Pun intended. Yeah. All right. But it takes a village, right? And I'm proud to be amongst this village here today. I'm proud to be connected with Gwendolyn through all your magnificent work you've done over the years. Like, I give you your flowers 100 times over. We appreciate you, and we'll continue to support you in whatever way we can. We're honoring our native son, and it's important for us to acknowledge that, yes, he was a scholar, he was an activist, a civil rights pioneer, he was a writer, but at one point in time he was just a young man here, and this place inbred something in him that he carried all over the world. And if the rest of the world can see his brilliance and acknowledge it, then we should hear through, not just in Great Barrington, but all throughout the county. So that's all I wanted to do today, is just give this plaque to the committee for their work and their dedication. And if the committee members that are here would like to come up so you can see the plaque up close and in person, that'll be great to do. All right, and then we'll unveil it. It's also engraved with one of his quotes, and the quote is, "Beneath the veil lay right and wrong, vengeance and love, and sometimes throwing aside the veil, a soul of a sweet beauty and truth stood revealed." So thank you all for being here, and on behalf of the United States Postal Service, we present to you the W.E.B plaque. And Gwendolyn, you can put it in place wherever you see fit, so it'll be around for generations to see to come. All right. Ari, you want to come on up? Where's DuBois? Okay, come on. Where are all the committee members? We'll lift it up together. This stamp is no longer in circulation, so I had to do a lot of work to get them to even put this frame together. And believe it or not, I've been running like crazy all morning. It just got here today.
And we've been working on it for weeks and weeks and
Yeah.
weeks.
All right, you ready? Come on.
Good?
Yep, straight up. Go and then down. A sweet beauty and truth stood revealed.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Katori.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
This is from the Commonwealth, and it states, "Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to the Multicultural Bridge and the town of Lee in recognition of your work to uplift democracy in the spirit of W.E.B. DuBois, through active participation, education, and a fearless commitment to justice. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Given on this 16th day of July 2025 as the State House, Boston, Massachusetts, by Ronald Mariano, Speaker of the House, offered by State Representative Lee Davis." So that is the citation for the Multicultural Bridge, and
And Lee.
yeah.
Thank you. So what I think is the most important about that is now the town of Lee is in the conversation with us. Yay. That's right. This is the official, yes?
Oh yeah, no. Just so I suppose Gwen at a certain point that as chair, and this is what I said at the beginning, is that I see my role as sort of fostering conversations like this and doing whatever I can to, further the issues, and I extended an opportunity to continue to work with the Multicultural Bridge, and I intend to do that through as long as I'm involved with the town. So
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you, Sabrina. Yay. And yes, so I think again, DuBois is a native son of the Berkshires, and so hopefully, all of the towns join us in the work and the efforts that we've made. And I had a closing, but I don't like conclusions, so this is like to be continued, right? Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all the hands that made this happen. Thank you for all the engagement in the conversation. And there is delicious food prepared for you, so please enjoy it. I said it earlier, but some of it comes from our Solidarity Farm and Garden or other BIPOC farming partners. Megan Lawrence is the caterer from Sheffield, so yay, thank you. Thank you again to the Bridge Youth Corps in the back, yay, thank you. And thank you for all the partners, the partnership. And I personally want to thank the W.E.B. DuBois Sculpture Committee for taking us over this last hump.